Here I am, triumphantly crossing the finish line of the Girona half marathon. I was aiming for a sub 1 hour and 35 minutes, but the heat really put me to the test and I could feel my pace dropping kilometer after kilometer. It was painful, but I still had fun. Only something doesn't add up. 1 hour, 29 minutes and 19 seconds. How is that possible? The clock shows a time that, honestly, is beyond my current level, especially after such a disastrous race. Did I accidentally take a shortcut through the Catalan woods? Or is there something I'm missing? Alright guys, get comfortable. Today I'm going to tell you the legendary story of the Verdes half marathon. A journey of architecture, Catalan pride and a sun that shows no mercy. Let's go! I didn't come here just for the tapas, I promised. I set off from Rome towards Girona via Barcelona, with one goal: to finish the half marathon in under 1 hour and 35 minutes. That's the pace I've been targeting over the past few months. But you know how it goes, you can prepare as much as you want, but on race day, it's your body that decides whether it feels like cooperating or not. I'm also here to understand why people in Spain run so much. In Europe it's often described as a runner's paradise. Fast races, great infrastructure and personal bests almost guaranteed. You look around and see people running everywhere. Usually if you see a crowd running, it's a bad sign. Here it's just a normal Tuesday afternoon. That's exactly why I came, to chase my PB on a course that promised something special. Barcelona welcomes you like this. Huge open space, sea, air and an energy that makes you want to move. But since the race is only 48 hours away, my peak athletic activity will be dodging tourists on La Rambla. Over the past few days though, I realized that there was a problem. And no, it's not my desire to eat tapas. Let me introduce my toughest opponent in this race, the heat. I checked the weather and it is what it is, a disaster. We're in that time of year when spring suddenly decides to turn into summer in 48 hours without warning anyone. The result? High humidity and a jump from Rome's 10 degrees to well over 20 here. It sounds nice, but for a runner it's basically the gateway to hell. While I'm already sweating just looking at the forecast, someone else is having a much better time. Little Samosa, in fact, has been enjoying a vacation with his grandparents in Naples while we've been here. A shout out to him, he definitely had a better deal than me, him chilling on a cool couch, me here battling the first real heat of the year. Physiology doesn't lie, there's a phenomenon called thermal drift. If you train in cool temperatures and race in the heat, your heart slowly stops being your best ally. With cool temperatures around 10 to 15 degrees Celsius, the heart can work efficiently, pumping oxygen-rich blood toward the muscles engaged in the effort. But when the temperature rises, the body has to start defending itself from the heat by activating thermoregulation. An increasingly large portion of the blood is then redirected toward the skin to dissipate heat through sweat and evaporation. It's a zero-sum game. Less blood to the muscles means less oxygen, and to compensate for this shortage and maintain the same pace, the heart has to beat faster, reaching its limits, namely maximum heart rate, much sooner. This is cardiac drift. It's the phenomenon where, despite maintaining the same intensity, heart rate gradually rises because of thermal stress and dehydration, which makes the blood thicker and harder to pump. In practice, that 430 per kilometer pace I could comfortably handle in Rome would cost me around 10 extra beats per minute here in the heat after just half the race. And having 10 extra beats that early would mean only one thing: my entire race strategy would officially collapse. It would take at least 2 weeks for full heat acclimatization, allowing the body to increase plasma volume and improve sweating efficiency. I have about 40 hours, absolutely not enough. Will our hero manage not to melt onto the asphalt of Girona? I don't know, but just in case, I brought some electrolytes with me. There's one thing about Barcelona that completely won me over: the way the city is designed. Usually runners have to zigzag through tourists just to reach a park, slamming on the brakes every 200 meters for a traffic light. Here, not really. Here they invented the high example and then pushed it into the future with the Superblocks. The concept is brilliant. They take a group of city blocks, redirect traffic around the outside and turn the inside into a pedestrian oasis. The intersections have those iconic 45-degree chamfered corners, originally designed back in the 1850s for horse-drawn trams, believe it or not. And today they've become little plazas full of trees. But the thing I love most is the speed limit. Inside some of these blocks, cars are allowed in, but often the limit is just 10 kilometers per hour, which means that if I start running at race pace, let's say around 4:30 per kilometer, I'm literally moving faster than the cars, and that's where what runners call tapering comes in, or more simply, the taper. To someone new to running, it sounds insane. You spend months piling on mileage and then 48 hours before the race you suddenly do nothing. But that's exactly the point. The taper is there to let your muscles repair all those tiny micro tears and to refill your glycogen stores. You're not losing fitness, you're giving your body the chance to absorb all the work you've done over the past few months. That's how it works. If you squeeze your body dry right up to the end, there's nothing left on race day. But if you let it rest at the right moment, you show up feeling explosive. The problem is that psychologically, tapering is a nightmare. You feel heavy, you feel slow, but apparently that's all part of the plan. Or at least, I hope it is. Barcelona is a city that never shuts up. If nobody's running, somebody's dancing. It's the world capital of events like the Sonar or Primavera Sound, places where people probably burn more calories than in a marathon, but with a lot less hydration. There's this constant push toward innovation that you can almost feel in the air, a mix of organized chaos and a desire to push boundaries. Here, sport feels like an extension of the beach. You see people moving from paddle to a run along the Barceloneta with incredible ease. It's not just about going for a run, it's a whole mindset, the vibe of people who simply don't want to stand still for a second, and that energy is contagious. Here, you're not just in Spain, you're in Catalonia, and that's not just a tourist detail. It's a matter of identity that shapes everything, including sport. You see it in the flags hanging from balconies, and in the pride with which people defend every inch of their culture. Running here feels different. The Girona Half Marathon isn't just a regional race, it's a showcase for a territory that wants to make its mark and that, historically, has never been comfortable settling for second place. Now, let's talk about serious business, the food. Barcelona is an incredible place to eat. We all know the theory, we've read it in every running blog out there. Clean carb-loading, plain rice, perfectly timed hydration. Then reality hits. Resisting what lands on the tables around here is a truly monumental challenge. The plan was to do everything right, but the temptation to try absolutely everything turned out to be much stronger than my discipline. In a single day, the table saw a parade of dishes: patatas bravas, bruschetta, pulpo alla gallega, olives, anchovies with butter, zucchini carpaccio, hummus, and grilled salmon, all washed down with a non-alcoholic beer, because, hey, I'm still an athlete on a mission. And honestly, if we look at the macros, it's not that bad, right? A decent mix of protein, healthy fats, and carbs. Or at least that's the story I kept telling myself while ordering the anchovies. Anyway, Girona is waiting for us, and over there, no urban planning concept or superblock is going to save anyone. Leaving the chaos of Barcelona behind, I arrive in Platja for bib collection, which also serves as the finish area for all race distances. At the entrance though, there's a sign, no dogs allowed. Samosa, watching from the comfort of a sofa back in Naples, is probably very grateful to have stayed exactly where he is. From this point on, things start getting serious. There's no more sightseeing, no more distractions, just the clock, the race ahead, and that sun which is beginning to look like the only real judge in this entire story. Platja is one of those classic Costa Brava beach towns that must be absolutely packed in summer. Right now, though, it's in that strange in-between phase. There's a huge stretch of beach, crystal clear water, and some genuinely stunning scenery. I have to say, it's a fantastic seaside destination. Many shops still have their shutters down, and entire areas feel like they're waiting for the official start of the season to come back to life. Even so, the town feels surprisingly lively, probably helped by the fact that tomorrow's race is bringing runners in from all over. The bib is ready, or rather, I'm in the process of sewing it onto my shirt because the clever Catalans somehow managed to put together the race pack without including safety pins. Meanwhile, I take one last look at the weather forecast just to check whether those temperatures are really confirmed. Apparently tomorrow the sun plans to make itself known. Anyway, the theory is over. Tomorrow morning the graphs, predictions and calculations get put aside. It's early morning and I'm on my way to catch the bus that will take us to Llagostera for the start. It's a 15-minute ride inland, just enough time to reflect on how absurd this whole thing really is. We literally pay for a ticket to be taken farther away from the finish line, with the sole objective of having to get back there by running. Basically, we're investing time and money to create a problem that didn't exist in the first place. And yet, there are hundreds of us doing exactly that. Packed onto a bus, staring into space in the silence of the morning, united by the same inexplicable desire to suffer. Still, looking out of the window, I have to admit that this part of Catalonia is absolutely beautiful. Rolling hills, quiet countryside, and that soft morning light that makes everything look better than it probably should. So yes, as ridiculous as this whole situation is, but what a privilege it is to be here. Here we go, just a few minutes to go, a few mobility drills, a bit of warm-up to wake up the legs, and I'm in the starting corral. While we wait for the gun, let's bring the metrics onto the screen. The data you're seeing here is my race performance projected directly onto the video using a software tool that I developed myself. The system allows me to overlay workout data, generate animated charts, and analyze the course in detail to better understand the performance. I use it both before and after races to run calculations, track my progress, and pinpoint exactly where I can improve or where I made mistakes. The software is still a work in progress, but I'd love your feedback. If this kind of data-driven running content interests you, I can keep developing it and maybe one day make it available for others to use as well. But enough talking, the countdown is over. Let's race! We're off. This time I managed to get away cleanly and avoid being trapped in the crowd. From studying the course beforehand, I knew the route would narrow after less than 100 meters, so I made a strong initial surge to move up immediately and escape the chaos before the bottleneck. I pushed the pace through the first kilometer. The sensations are excellent, the legs are turning over smoothly, and the adrenaline is doing exactly what adrenaline is supposed to do. The course is a real mix of surfaces, mostly hard-packed dirt with sections of asphalt, all on an open route without barriers. It's the kind of race where you can't switch your brain off. You have to stay alert, keep an eye on the course markings and make sure you don't accidentally disappear into the Catalan countryside. The first few kilometers fly by. I knew the course opened with some climbs, followed by a long stretch of downhill running, so I decided to take advantage of it and keep the pace aggressively high. I let myself go a little, convinced I could cash in on the gravitational advantage, while many of the runners around me stayed noticeably more conservative. Looking back, they were probably the smarter ones. One thing that's easy to forget is that downhill running is never free speed. The cardiovascular effort might feel lower, but your muscles are paying the bill, especially your quadriceps. Every step is essentially a controlled braking action, and over time that eccentric loading starts to add up. To be honest, I wasn't prepared for that kind of a specific muscular demand. I was feeling great aerobically, but my legs were quietly doing far more work than I realized, and as I would eventually discover, they were keeping score. At kilometer 5 comes the first unpleasant surprise. No aid station. That's when the anxiety starts creeping in. I know I'll have to wait another 5 kilometers before getting any water, and under these conditions, that's definitely no bueno, amigos. The field begins to stretch out, a few runners move past me, and the temptation to latch onto them is strong. For a moment, it feels like the obvious thing to do. Just hold on, stay with the group, and worry about the consequences later. But I decide against it. The heat is already making its presence felt, and this doesn't seem like the day to be making emotional decisions. So I let them go, settle back into my own rhythm, and try to stay patient. There's still a long way to go, and right now the real opponent isn't the runners ahead of me, it's the sun. By kilometer 13, things start to change. The first signs of fatigue begin to creep in, my legs start to burn, my heart rate takes off. And there it is, our old friend cardiac drift, making a dramatic entrance as the temperature continues to rise. At this point it becomes obvious that I'm running too hot, both literally and figuratively. I'm only a little past halfway, and already the effort is climbing much faster than the pace would suggest. So I make a decision. Slow down. Fortunately, I've built up a buffer over my target average pace during the first part of the race. That gives me some room to back off without immediately jeopardizing the goal of breaking 1:35. It's one of the hardest things to do in a race. Every instinct tells you to keep pushing, to fight for every second. But sometimes the smartest move isn't to run faster, it's to stop digging the hole any deeper. From this point on, the objective changes. No more chasing time, no more attacking the course. Now it's about survival, damage control, and getting to the finish line before the Catalan sun decides the race for me. By kilometer 16, I am officially in trouble. At this point, it's all about managing whatever fuel is left in the tank and making sure the engine doesn't completely blow up before the finish line. The goal is no longer to gain time, it's to limit the damage. Looking around though, I have to give credit where it's due. Almost nobody seems to be slowing down. If anything, many runners are still moving strongly, which suggests they paced this race brilliantly and probably nailed a near perfect negative split, unlike me. Then, all of a sudden, the plot thickens. I see the 2 kilometers to go sign, but my watch says there are still almost 3 kilometers left. What happened to kilometer 18? I keep moving forward, focusing on one thing only: don't blow up. Eventually the finish line comes into view, and that's when the mystery is finally solved. It turns out the answer was something I'd already suspected after analyzing the course with my software before the race. Although I was hoping it was just an inaccuracy in the GPS track provided by the organizers. It wasn't. This wasn't a half marathon at all. It was a glorious 20.18 kilometers race, and just like that, my miraculous finish time suddenly made a lot more sense. By the final kilometers, I had fully accepted what was happening, so instead of emptying the tank completely, I chose to manage the effort. A time achieved over 20.3 kilometers simply doesn't carry the same meaning as the same time over a certified half marathon. I crossed the line in 1 hour, 29 minutes and 22 seconds. Projecting the pace, maybe I would have been somewhere under 1 hour 34 for a full half marathon, but we'll never know. I recover, drink 2 liters of water and take this result home. In the end, the heat was absolutely brutal. My muscle management wasn't perfect, but my Catalan adventure ends here. Another lesson learned and a nice batch of data to have fun analyzing next time. Despite the heat and my quads feeling like they were on fire, I'm heading home with a smile and the motivation to get back to work right away. It was an awesome experience. Have you ever run a race and realized the distance was different from what was advertised? Let me know in the comments. Oh, and before I forget, subscribe to the channel. See you in the next one. Keep running, keep exploring.